My name is Mark Bruce, and I'm excited to talk to you about making magic out of other people's passion. This is a family portrait. Yeah, that's Lisa, Joe, Sarah, and Tucker. Center of my world right here. There are a couple things going on in the country. There is a family first phenomenon, and there's also a mentoring gap phenomenon. We all know what family first is. On the mentoring gap, it's basically the number of youth out there that really need a mentor but do not have access to one. Why does that occur? Why do we have this mentoring gap? There's 9 million at-risk kids in that gap. The world's a complicated place, but I think if you distill it down to the very root, it's a function of potential mentors not having enough time or enough interest in the mentoring program. So how do we fill the mentoring gap? I think you have to go back to this portrait. What if we expanded our family portrait? What if we redefined family first? What if we filled the mentor gap using passion? All of us have a story. My story is really simple. I don't have $1 million. I don't have a PhD. I don't have 10,000 outlier hours in any one area. I just have a simple idea that I've been working on for about the last 8 years. 8 years ago, I became the president of the Washoe County Bar Association. It's about 1,000 lawyers in the membership. And as part of my responsibility, I was supposed to write the lead article in a writ that was circulated throughout the membership. And past presidents had written about legal issues and current events relating to the law. And I wanted to do something different. So I went to one of my mentors. That was Chuck McGee. He was a family court judge who developed the family court system in the state of Nevada. So he knows a thing or two about relationships. And I asked him, I said, Chuck, help me. I need to make these articles meaningful. What do I do? And I'll never forget, he said, Mark, when you want to make something meaningful, you have to make it about people, and you have to dive far deeper than skin deep. So I said, great, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it about the passion that lawyers have outside of the law. I knew that there are some passionate people in the legal community, and I started jotting down these passionate areas that they have. And I reached out, found 3 or 4 different lawyers in each of these areas, if you can believe it, who had tremendous passion in each of them. And I reached out to them and I interviewed them and talked to them at length about more than just this. And I wrote the articles, wrote the articles, sent them out, edited them, and then I published them. The response was phenomenal. But I learned 3 really important things. The first was that if you place importance on someone else's passion, they will truly appreciate and somehow place importance in you. And the second thing that I learned, I think is most important for this whole talk, is that if you spend time on someone else's passion, they will spend time on you, frequently outside of that passion. And the third thing that I learned that was very personal and very self-serving was that I am a relationship-hungry person. I didn't really know it. There were signs. I didn't really know it, but it's been one of my favorite self-realizations in my lifetime. And I would encourage everybody to try something along these lines. But what this didn't do is it didn't do public good. There was no public benefit. And so I was working with the Washington County Bar Association on another project, and that was putting together a package that we could send out to teachers and to counselors that they could use to help youth who are about to turn 18 what was going to happen to them legally, that they would be subject to contractual issues and criminal issues that they'd never thought of before, they'd never faced before because they hadn't turned 18, the age of adulthood. And I looked at this kind of in a broader sense. I said, we need more than this. We need to go beyond the law. We need to go beyond a publication. We need to reach out to people to interface with these children. We need these youth. We need these youth to have somebody to talk to in a public forum, and we need to have these people provide their contact information so that these youth can continue to have somebody help them in critical areas. And the topics that we put together were right here on the right-hand side. And this is last year's flyer, but this has been happening for several years now. When we created this, I went out to people who I knew were passionate in their field. And I called them and I told them, I said, please help us help these kids who are about to go through a really important transition. Help their future with something you love, the area of practice in your life that you love. And every single one of them agreed. Every one of them said yes. And maybe more importantly, most of these people are still involved in this project. So since these two projects, I've been involved on numerous boards, many programs, and I find myself now involved in three. I am with the Children's Cabinet, which serves 11,000 at-risk kids a year in Washoe County. I'm with the Desert Research Institute, which has 400 science projects on all 7 continents. And I'm with the TRPA, which oversees the beautiful basin that we are in right now. And I've learned a couple other things about passion. One, how you have to strategically create it. And the second, how you have to retain it once you know you have it. On the strategic side, a good example, just last month, we created what we call the DRI STEM Academy. And it was funded last month. And the idea is to pair DRI retired scientists with at-risk kids, put them out in the field, let these kids watch the passion that these scientists have, that it validates these scientists' lives, it validates their work, and it gives the kids a sense of what passion really is. So strategic and creative, creating of that passion. The second is retaining passion. I have an example from 2 days ago. 2 days ago, the Children's Cabinet brought Jimmy Wayne, who is a foster care child from Nashville, Tennessee, who became a country music star, wrote a New York Times best-selling book that's been on the list 3 times now. We brought him to town. And instead of charging for admission, what we did was we said, we're going to invite 200 children, at-risk children, foster care children, transitioning children. We're going to invite counselors, teachers, social service workers, and leaders in our community for children. We're going to bring them all together. We're going to let them see Jimmy Wayne's passion, and we're going to let Jimmy Wayne see their passion. That is passion retention. You take opportunities when you know you have passion, especially people who are passionate about kids and mentoring. You know you have it, you've got to reward it. You've got to keep it alive. And that's what we did. So I sit around at home and I think to myself, am I missing out because of this family first thing? And I spent a lot of my time away from my kids. They know I'm there. Most of my work I do at home. But I'm not in constant contact with them. And I'm not traveling frequently with them to go do things with them. I'm out in the community and I'm at home working on community related issues, and I worry. Am I missing family first? So I decided to do an experiment this summer. I took my son aside and I said, you want to go on a little ride? And he said, yes. So I set up experiences at every one of these organizations where I have a very passionate friend at each one of these places. And I said, Joe, he's 15. I'm going to lose him in 2 years to college. I said, Joe, get out there and have some fun. Halfway through the summer, I asked him, how you doing, bud? He said, Dad, I love it, but it's so complex. These organizations are so complex and so difficult to understand. I worry that I'm not doing a good job with respect to these experiences. So we got together and we thought about things, we talked about things, and we worked it out. At the end of the talk, he understood that the point of him visiting these 17 places was to meet his hosts, to feel the passion that they feel in each one of these very, very different places. He sees things differently. He feels things differently. This is just in 6 weeks. He talks about people differently. He asks questions about people differently. And he's well on his way to relationship hunger. That's what it's a term I coined, but it's the way I feel. It's relationship hunger. When you want to find somebody's passion and you want to help them express it or otherwise help it. And so here's an example, okay? This was one of the people that he met. This is the tribal chairman for the Reno Sparks Indian Colony. This man has been on the United States Civil Rights Commission. And because of Joe's interest in their passions, because of their passion for what they do, this is the magic that can happen as a result of that meeting. So we've come full circle. And this is more my family portrait than the first one that I showed you. This is more the way that it truly looks. And there's a lot going on here. But everybody in this picture is benefiting from relationship hunger. Everyone is benefiting. The passionate people are benefiting because they get to go out and spend time with the future, or children. They get to show them their life, their life's work. They get to validate what they have done in this world. And the children, in response, they get to be with someone who's passionate. And that's, in my mind, that is the most important relationship there is, to be with someone who's passionate about what they do, regardless of what it is. And for my little family right here, what I think all of us have come to realize is that by surrounding them by all of these organizations and all of these beautiful people, all of them touching them in a little way, that I truly have put my family first. And that is how you make magic out of finding other people's passion.